Meme Break! The HTC Vive Cosmos.
Of blind spots. You move the controllers up close to your face, you lose tracking.
I have memed the HTC Vive Cosmos for months now. And it's for good reason. HTC released the Cosmos to follow up and replace the HTC Vive, which, despite its age, had become an affordable, functional way to get into base station tracked VR. Problem here is that the Cosmos launched with multiple fundamental issues, and it essentially flopped, barely making up 1% of all Steam VR users. But with the HTC Vive Cosmos Elite, things are a little different, and there are specific cases that I have changed my mind on. In fact, the Cosmos is the gateholder to some of the best VR out there, completely wireless, extremely low latency PC VR, as long as you have really deep pockets, that is. And I do absolutely believe that there's a specific type of VR user that the Elite would be good for. Better than any other headset on the market at this time, even. But I'll get into that in just a bit. First, why did the Cosmos fail? And what can every manufacturer learn from this? And what makes the Elite so much better that I would 180 my stance and say that this is a decent headset, albeit a little too expensive, or way too expensive actually? Well, let me explain. Excuse me if this gets a little ranty though. I've got a lot to get off my chest, but do me a favor and hold off comments until you've heard my piece. This one is multifaceted. I don't think many people have really seen close-up video of what the Cosmos looks like, especially the Elite, or how comfortable it is, or what the sweet spot is like. Most people just really don't care because they know that they're not going to buy it anyways. But really quickly, I'll get into that. The headset is decently comfortable. I'd put it somewhere between an Oculus Rift S and a Valve Index in terms of comfort. Closer to the Rift S side though. It does have padding all over it that is soft and pretty easy to clean, and if there's one thing that I notice immediately looking at the cable routing, materials used, and comfort, it's that I can tell HTC knows how to make VR headsets, or at least how a headset is supposed to fit on a head. A lot has been learned from the original Vive and its stretchy elastic band head strap that it came with. Although the creaky, super thin plastic feel of the facial interface leaves a lot to be desired and feels like a giant step down in quality from the rest of the headset. The Cosmos also has a nifty little feature that sounds really amazing on paper, but in practice is a little suspect. The entire front of the headset flips up so you can see the real world without ever pulling your headset up. But let's be real, are the downsides of having a flip up mechanism really worth the inconvenience of just doing this? I don't know, maybe, because it's just become such muscle memory to rest my headset on top of my head, I find it weird to even have this feature. It's pretty sturdy, and I put it through a stress test to see just how much it moves if I do something like shake my head violently, and it's not all that bad. It sounds like a nice feature that I could get used to, except for there are very obvious trade-offs that you notice as soon as you put on the headset, and this will lead me to my next section of the Cosmos, the actual viewing experience. Due to the hinge mechanism, the lenses and displays sit further from your face than is necessary, and severely limits the sweet spot available on the Cosmos. I remember people complaining that the sweet spot on the Valve Index is small. No, at least not compared to the Cosmos. And the saddest part is that if you just push the Cosmos screen closer to your face, everything gets so much clearer having the lenses closer to your eyes. But the flip mechanism is in the way of making that happen. The end result is a display that looks great. Colors are pretty alright. Refresh rate is solid at 90 Hz, which is, I guess, above standard now considering the Quest and Rift S. Comfort is fine, actually above average as well, but there's lens distortion and God rays when there absolutely should not be. And it's due to this flip mechanism that I never really asked for, but I guess is cool, but there's trade-offs, like I said. So there are two main issues with the original Cosmos that launched in late 2019. That led to its meme status. First is the price. The Cosmos replaced the HTC Vive that had dropped all the way to just $400 by the end of its life. Then the Vive ceased production, and the Cosmos went live for $700. That doesn't work when your biggest competitors are still in the $400 price range with the Quest and Rift S. And the second issue was the tracking. The tracking out of the box of the original Cosmos was so horrendous, I remember asking myself how HTC could seriously ship a product like this. On paper, it's supposed to have a larger tracking volume than the Rift S, and higher quality cameras including more cameras. Yet somehow the tracking was far behind anything that Oculus had to offer. In fact, Norm from Tested recommended people play Half-Life Alyx on just about anything, but a Cosmos, because the tracking was so bad and you'd have to find different ways to play the game entirely. That includes the $200 to $250 Windows mixed reality headsets that have been dogged by the VR community for having subpar tracking quality. The Cosmos launch was a joke. So has anything changed or been fixed? Well, in terms of the original Cosmos, the tracking has gotten better through software updates, and things aren't so bad over there, but they're still not optimal. But we're talking about the Elite today. So the price of the HTC Vive Cosmos Elite is $900. So for the Cosmos headset, a laser trackable faceplate, 2 Vive wands, and 2 base station 1.0s, it's only $100 less than a Valve Index, which comes with a superior headset, 2 Knuckles controllers, just about objectively better than the wands in every way besides maybe durability, and 2 base station 2.0s. Something about this math just isn't adding up, and it makes no sense from a consumer standpoint. The HTC Vive full kit was selling with 2 Vive wands, 2 base station 1.0s, and the Vive headset for $450 just before the Cosmos launch. So is the Cosmos headset really that expensive to manufacture that it'd make sense for a $500 to $700 price increase? If that's the case, someone at HTC seriously needs to have their job reconsidered, because that is ridiculous, and that price point is still strangling the Cosmos and its adoption rate, especially considering it's actually a pretty decent headset now that tracking has been fixed. Which brings us on to part 2. The inside-out tracking on the original Cosmos has been completely ditched for the bread and butter of HTC VR, base station lasers. That means that the tracking on the Cosmos Elite will be identical and just as good as the Index or original Vive now. No questions asked. Besides, of course, coming with base station 1.0s, but I have been using 1.0s for the past 2 months instead of my 2.0s because I want to see what the difference is, and also I was waiting on an RMA because one of my 2.0s broke. And there isn't that much in terms of perceived tracking quality difference. Of course, if you have a giant play space, 2.0s will suit you better and you're gonna want them. But if you're in a standard environment like a room or a living room, then the 1.0s will track you just fine. Don't be too worried about it. So I mentioned that the Cosmos is the gatekeeper to some of the best VR has to offer, and I wasn't exaggerating. There are 2 scenarios I can see someone wanting a Cosmos over any other headset out there. Number 1 is that you want a Valve Index, but it's not available in your country, or you just can't wait the 3 to 4 months it's taking for people to buy indexes right now. I mean, seriously, I know people that are on their 14th week of waiting to buy an Index. If you want VR now and you want that VR to be base station tracked and you don't mind the trade-offs of not waiting for an Index, Cosmos isn't a terrible option, and I'm sure that you'll enjoy the headset. Like I said, it's comfortable, has good displays, and has good tracking. Downsides are that it's less clear and has a lower field of view over the Index, has a lower refresh rate, comes with annoying old Vive wands instead of Knuckles, and you don't get base station 2.0s. But the nice thing about buying a base station tracked headset like the Cosmos or an Index is that you have the ability to just buy Knuckles later, or you can get full body tracking without any hassle or having to buy base stations in addition. And that brings me on to the second type of person that I would recommend to buy the Cosmos Elite. You have deep pockets, and you really want the cutting edge of VR right now. I feel like I've said nothing all too positive about the Cosmos in this video other than it does its job, and that's the biggest improvement over the original Cosmos. But there is one area that the Cosmos Elite is 100% your best option, and it's up to you to decide whether it's worth it in terms of trade-offs or, like I said, if your pockets are deep enough, and that's wireless. If you have lots of money to throw at VR, and you're the kind of person that wants full body tracking for VR chat, or a Catwalk C, or B-Haptics vest, then the Cosmos might be right for you just due to the wireless adapter. HTC has had these crazy 60 GHz WiGig wireless adapters for the HTC Vive and Vive Pro for a while now. But if you buy, yet again, an additional adapter for the Cosmos, it does in fact work on the Cosmos Elite. And the Cosmos Elite plus a wireless adapter turns it into hands down the best wireless headset on the market. At least it is until Oculus or Valve fully supports wireless. The setup really is dead simple. I put in the supplied WiGig PCIe card, downloaded the software, and put the adapter on the headset itself, and I was in-game in less than 10 minutes. I will warn you though, if you don't have a very capable PC as is, you will run into issues. But assuming that you are the deep-pocketed VR enthusiast that you are, you likely have a pretty beefy PC here. Here, I'm running a 2080 Ti, 32 GB of RAM, and a Ryzen 39 3900X with no large issues. The only time I ran into noticeable latency was in Boneworks. Other than that, having a PC-grade headset be completely wireless with nearly no compression artifacts was one of the most freeing things I've had in my VR world. Getting in VR chat to jump around and do cartwheels and somersaults and handstands was one of the weirdest sensations ever. Just, I didn't have to worry about a cable. There was almost no latency. It was pretty amazing. Now, someone out there is going to say laughs while in Oculus Quest, or hey, the Quest can do wireless over 5 GHz Wi-Fi just fine, and you could buy base stations and Vive trackers. Shoot, I even made a video of how to do that to get full body tracking with the Quest. And yeah, you can. But with the Cosmos, it does work with less latency and works a little more flawlessly using something like the Knuckles with it. Plus, the Quest plus base station plus Vive trackers comes up to be pretty dang pricey as is. You're already talking about $1,000+. So here, in terms of price, utilizing wireless to its fullest extent really isn't that far in terms of price. This made me realize that the Cosmos really does have its place, and a thing that it does better than any other headset out there. But really, is it worth it? The Cosmos Elite, which is worse than the Index in almost every way. Audio, video, comfort, controllers, base stations, cost $900. If you want to use Knuckles with it, which I would not only recommend, but I would say it's almost a requirement, is an additional $250. So $1,150 to be almost as good as the Index. Then, if you want the wireless adapter, it will cost an extra $300 to $400. So roughly $1,500 for a headset that is worse in some ways than the Index, but has wireless. Look, for some people, it's way more than worth it. I had some of the most fun I've ever had in VR chat and VR in general, literally just jumping around not worrying about a tether. Legit, it's great, but you're gonna pay for it, and the cost is astronomical, at least relatively. Not to mention, wireless has its own downsides of battery life. I only got a little more than 2 hours of usage out of one battery, but it is compatible with larger Anker batteries, which I did order one, and I'll have it as standby, but that's still just more money that you're throwing at this thing. I guess here is where I'll leave it up to you. I know many people that having wireless is almost a necessity, namely dancers in VR chat, or people that physically can't stand having a wire. But like I said, the costs are pretty crazy, and wireless technology is only getting better and better with Wi-Fi 6E coming soon. Who knows if the Index will be getting wireless soon, or if Oculus's next headset will be completely wireless. It's up to you to decide whether it's worth it to have it now. What I can say is, well, someone at HTC needs to take a hard look at themselves and how much they're asking for the Cosmos Elite. If the headset was $599 or even $699, I could easily recommend it. And I absolutely guarantee that it would fly off shelves. It would be the perfect in-between headset between a Rift S or Quest and an Index. And that market is certainly there. But it's not that. It's $900, an almost unbelievable price, and it hurts to see HTC squander and obviously push their profit margins in an unattainable direction. If this doesn't change, I almost worry that HTC's focus on profits and competing with the Index will end in them losing something even more valuable, their place among the VR hardware landscape. Their market share is slipping every single day. Like I said, it sucks because the Cosmos Elite isn't a bad headset. It just costs way too damn much. Final words, if you need wireless, full body tracking, and Knuckles now, it's a great option. But I'm also assuming that money is no problem for you. If you're anybody else, wait for that price to go down. And for the sake of everyone over at HTC, I sure hope that that price goes down before the company making those decisions goes down first. I will be streaming using the Cosmos and wireless today, so if you want to stop by and ask me questions about it, come on to my Twitch stream. I'll be happy to answer any one of them. I also want to thank all of my Patreon supporters, especially my Omegas like Very Evil Shadow, Zimph, Travis, Yumi, Julian, Jake, Benji, Studio Form VR, and VR Balance. I couldn't be doing any of this without you. Don't forget to like this video if you loved it, subscribe if you want more of this, and hit that freaking bell if you just can't live without it. Much love, Thrill out. You make good stuff. Work on your customer service, work on your customer support, and work on bringing those prices down. But hey, I'm just a guy making YouTube videos. What do I know?